Coach, contact me.
It's gonna be all in the news.
It's the PokerNews Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 889th episode of the PokerNews Podcast. I am Chad Holloway, joined by Mike Holtz in Kyna, England at Level 9 Studio in Las Vegas. We have a juicy show for you. We're going to talk Maurice Hawkins again in a big way, some drama with him and Denise Pratt, who I actually talked to. So I've got an interview with her. We're going to talk about the end of the OnlyFriends podcast and Mike's intimate experience with that. We're going to talk about Kyna's experience down at the Lips Ladies Week at South Point, my experience at the NFL Draft. We sent Connor to a charity event that had Ray Romano and Jennifer Tilly. We're going to talk big online poker news in Pennsylvania. And then at the end, we're going to talk about the poker content creation crisis that is happening in the community.
It's a big sentence. Content creation crisis.
Let's start with Maurice Hawkins. It was just a few hours ago that all three of us tuned in to the interview that he gave addressing the drama from last week involving him and Denise Pratt. Just to sum it up, we'll get into it more, but basically Denise Pratt backed him or invested in him, depending on who you believed, had a falling out at the WSOP Circuit Horseshoe Tunica. She took a video that I'm going to share in a minute, but before I do and get into too much more, I just need your initial impressions. Kyna, let me start with you. What did you think of Maurice Hawkins' interview?
Well, he said a lot of words. It was interesting to watch, like, the progression of him go through people too. So he starts with Denise, then he gets to what was the guy's name?
Randy Garcia.
Then he goes on about Chad and how the media is all against him. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder a little bit. Like I said, I have no beef with Maurice. I just know from what I've heard about him. I actually know him from Chicago. Like, we're always pretty friendly, but in his head, maybe he's just seeing things a little differently than the rest of the world. I don't know.
Mike, I know you got something to say.
Woo! I don't know, man. Maybe he's seeing things differently.
You could be right. He's framing it in his head that he's like not the bad guy, that he didn't do anything wrong in these instances. When he's talking about Randy, he flat out too said, I just don't want to pay him. And he said, hey, I probably did owe him like 25 grand. He took me to court. I didn't show up. And so they put a judgment of 125,000 on me when that's not really how much I owed him. So I don't want to pay him. And that's delusional. You didn't show up. You didn't prove your case. Now you have a judgment. You have to pay it, man. Like, and I'm sorry if you don't want to, but I don't want to go to work every day, you know? But like, we have to do things that we don't want because we're adults, and that's just how the world works.
God, I wish I had that advice a couple of years ago. I thought I could just do whatever I wanted to, but now I'm realizing it. That makes so much sense. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like Maurice very clearly owes some people money, allegedly, whatever I have to say at this point, you know.
I don't think it's alleged when there's a court.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, 100%. I mean, the dude, Maurice obviously owes money. All three of us were in the chat when he was doing his thing earlier. He said a bunch of things that were outright lies, saying that you've never given him flowers or anything. We've talked about him on the podcast multiple times. Every time, maybe not every time, but I or you multiple times, or you have given flowers to him about how good of a player he is.
He's a great player. Nobody said otherwise.
Yeah, the guy's results are obviously great. I've only played with him a couple times, so I can't say 100%, oh, his skills, he's the best, but he clearly, his results say that he should be one of the best at mid stakes at that circuit level, that buy-in level. He clearly has population exploits. He clearly knows how to play those. He plays a lot of them, and he's a good player, clearly, right? So there's no disputing that, and there's no taking away from that. But I don't know, is there any other players who have the results of him besides maybe like Chino Ream before, who really were in like situations like this? I mean, it's pretty rare. Like, and I don't know. Usually it's like, I don't know, if it wags its tail like a dog and it smells like a dog, it's probably a dog, right? So like, I don't know. Every single person is talking about how, oh, he owes me money from this, he owes me from that. I have these interactions. Does anybody ever have a bad reaction or a bad interaction with Denise? She seems pretty
No.
nice, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're going to see my interview with her in a minute. And before I do, your whole analogy there about if it walks like a dog, barks like a dog, that's your Kyna, the bee and the
bees
honey.
and the honey. I know.
Garden.
It's a duck.
Yeah,
it's a duck. If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
I didn't care about whatever, but it's still the same thing, you know?
Well, and the whole thing of the delusion around, oh my gosh, all these media sources are against me, because it started off being about Chad and being like, oh, Chad just always brings this up. He always writes about it. And the host is like, oh, Chad, does he own Poker News? No, but these guys from CardPlayer also do it. These guys from Poker.org, they write about me too. It's like all the media sources in poker are writing the same thing about you. And, you know, are they all wrong? Are they all trying to come for you and come for your career and ruin you? No, man.
Here's what I'll say is Maurice Hawkins has done a few interviews, and normally they're softball interviews where the host isn't really pressing him. I think at any point, if he'd like to do a one-on-one interview with Chad or anyone else, like who will reasonably give answers, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I can't imagine if I talked to Maurice for 10 minutes, he would be saying the same things he was saying on that interview, because I'd be like, bro, like, what about X and Y? Like, how is this working? Like, can you just explain it to everyone? It should be pretty simple. We all should be able to sit here for 10 minutes, look at a few texts, look at a few things, talk to a few people, and we all should be able to come to a pretty reasonable conclusion about what the situation is. And so for it to have been going on this long, and he's dodging interviews left and right, he was invited onto the show, he's not here, he said he would be here. I don't know, man. Draw your own conclusions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let me set the stage for a little bit for those who might not be familiar with the entire situation, but really to set it up for the interview that I'm going to do with Denise Pratt here very shortly. So this all came about when Maurice Hawkins won his record-tying 19th WSOP Circuit ring. It was down at the Horseshoe in Tunica. Took it down for $34,000. He ended up going on, let me look here. He went 4 days later and finished 8th in the main event for $11,000. So he has a good series. This comes on the heels of allegedly, Denise Pratt having backed him at the MSPT at Running Aces. I think perhaps the WSOP Circuit at Harris Cherokee, and I think even the package applied here. So there seems to be Maurice was under the impression and believes that she was backing him and claims she has the receipts that says as much. In his interview, Maurice was saying that it wasn't a backing situation where there was markup, more implying that she was buying action. It was an investment and I lost, so she doesn't get paid back. From what I understand in the receipts I've seen, it seems to be the former. And then when Denise went to Tunica, she knew he was there, knew that he had these successful cashes. She wanted to get paid back, which she alleges was just over $11,000. And she makes her way down there, confronts him, at the payout to try to get paid back, and took 2 videos. The first, we're going to run them back to back, but the first shows Denise initially approaching Maurice and his reaction to it. And then the second is at the actual payout line when Maurice was getting paid out and had security protection. Check him out.
5 times.
Yeah.
You a dumbass bitch.
No,
Get the fuck
you're a
away from me.
dumbass.
How about that? And don't ever in my life contact me or
It's
text
gonna
me.
be all in the news. You lie and screw everybody.
You need to get away from me. That's what you need to do. Oh, you shit.
You gonna do it on the outside of the casino. We're not gonna
I'm not constantly someone that's
You was running on your little text, man. That bipolar shit. Don't blame me. Get away from me.
Denise, you gotta leave. Gotta go.
already. Well, he got his video.
Oh, you shit.
So I actually tweeted those videos and they went kind of viral. I'm assuming you both saw them when I tweeted them. And my first initial experience, thought on these was just like, man, if you're dealing with somebody that you're either backing or investing in, and this is the way you're getting treated, that Maurice would take that stance and say that to Denise, it was pretty despicable. What did you guys think?
Yeah, man. I mean, and I think that's where the question came about too, is what was the agreement officially? And on his interview that he did, he took some questions at the end, and people were asking a lot of questions in the chat, and it seemed like he dodged a few, but he did address my question. And I asked, it seems like there's a discrepancy with the math, right? With the amount of money that she gave you and the amount of money that you played. That's what she was saying in the chat. I haven't seen the interview that you did with her yet, but she was saying he didn't use all of it. He owed her some back that she had given him. And maybe assumed that it was for that tournament that he won. I'm not sure on all that, but I addressed it and I said, was it clear that she dropped you? Because if you're being backed and she drops you, then okay, then you don't owe her that money. But he said she told him to go home. I'm like, is that really a clear division of
Not at
you're
all.
dropped, or I'm just not going to give you any more money for the stop? You know what I mean? He's like, I was asking her to bring me money and she wouldn't, and she told me to go home. That doesn't sound too much. I mean, again, it's not clear that's their agreement, but I would say there's probably a little bit more discussion that needs to be had before you officially just say she dropped me because she told me to go home.
As someone who's backed many people and interacts with a lot of people who are backed in stables and things like that, that would the relationship that you have with your backer should never be that murky, where you could say, oh, she said go home. That means we don't have a backing agreement anymore. Like, that's just not a thing. Like, Maurice has been in enough backing agreements, obviously, that he knows how this stuff works. You have to be very diligent. You have to be very on point with everything, the receipts, the making sure that you send the receipt every time, making sure you're keeping everything updated, making sure that everything is clear before you enter the tournament, what the agreements are, etc. There should be no murky waters. And as a professional poker player, if I was in Maurice's situation, I would never be entering a tournament where I don't know one way or if
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I mean,
whose money am I playing off of?
To me, that's negligent on Maurice's part, regardless of if he really thought she was dropped or not. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. We're all adults here. Like, let's be real about what's going on at this point. Come on, man.
Maybe you can clip the answer from the interview that he gave, because he said pretty much he didn't like the way that she talked to him too. And she was talking to him in a certain way.
She told me to go home and she was getting very disrespectful.
And I'm going to say it. I hate to say it, but it's like, I think, she's a nice lady. She's a woman. Feels a little like take advantage of, like, have you not had a backer ever, talk down to you a little bit? Like, be like, no, I'm not giving you any more money today. Go home. That just seems like, I didn't like, she called me turkey leg or something. I don't know. What did she, turkey liver? You'll see in there. I can't remember, but it was just, he didn't like the way she talked to him, and she told him to go home. And so that is an end to their agreement. I don't know. It's a little murky.
I want to say along those lines, because he did allude to it in his interview that he did on his own podcast channel with his own handpicked host, by the way, who I actually think did a decent job given the circumstances.
No, me too, actually.
Yeah. And, but just because he alluded to it with Denise, he alluded to it with Randy Garcia, that he either feels he's absolved for any financial liabilities because he felt disrespected. Like, even if you feel disrespected on how they're talking to you or treating you, it doesn't absolve you from the debt or from having to pay a court-ordered judgment. I want to also address what he said largely about myself and Poker News is, yes, I do not own Poker News, contrary to what he or anybody else believes. I wish I did. But we do have, believe it or not, standards at Poker News, and we're not just out there leveling accusations that are unfounded, right? We report on primary sources. In the instance of Maurice, most of the time it is with a court-ordered document, right? There are other court documents out there that we reference. We do primary sources with direct interviews like I'm going to do with Denise. I've done an interview with Maurice in the past, or at least gotten comments. So we take it serious, and they question, like, how does these things get approved? Well, we do our due diligence and we make sure that we're taking the proper steps. So I'll say that much, that I'm comfortable in everything that we have done and reported. I'll say that, as Mike alluded to, we did offer the invitation for you to come on tonight's podcast. And as we're recording this, you have not responded to the messages that I have sent, despite saying on air on the interview you did that you would join us.
Hey, yo, Chad, Instagram me on Ambition1 and tell me how to get on your podcast so we can talk about this. Okay?
You said to hit you up on Instagram. I did that. I also texted you that to a number that I had from our prior interactions, that I also verified from 2 other sources was still a number that you've had, or at least had recently. So that invitation, I'll extend it. You're welcome to do it, but you've certainly ghosted us tonight. And I'll say one person who didn't and she listened to the interview that you did and was willing to come on right away to talk about it and share her side of the story, was Denise Pratt. Now, I'm going to share a portion of the interview that I did with her. The full interview clocks in at over 30 minutes. I don't want to put the full thing here in this episode, but we are going to release the full interview as a standalone. So if those who want to go on YouTube will be able to check it out in full, but you're still going to get a good clips of the highlights right here. Check it out. Well, we are here to talk about Maurice Hawkins. You've been in the news, he's been in the news, and we're actually doing this interview very shortly after he did a podcast of his own. We talked about it in last week's episode. You and him had a big falling out, and we don't need to get into the actual beginnings. You've known Maurice for years. You have backed Maurice for several years, correct?
Yes. Off and on for several years. Yes.
And then it turns out, I think it was about a week ago or so, you shared a video that I also shared on social media, and Matt Berkey put on the OnlyFriends podcast of you going to collect money or trying to collect money from Maurice, I believe was at Horseshoe Tunica, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
And it was very contentious. He, basically called you some names, and it didn't go well. Can you just tell us about what went down that day?
Well, I went to collect my money because I had given him about $11,200. It was never a loan. It was to be paid back. I've got all the text messages. He told me he could either wire me the winnings back, or I could meet him at the cage. And I decided, I saw him, he was winning, and I went to go get my money plus my winnings. And when I got to the tournament that I feel like I did indeed give him enough money to play, he won the tournament, and I went to congratulate him. And there weren't that many people around, and he did shove me. And like he admitted in his podcast that he kind of went like that and told me to get off of him. I wasn't on him. He pushed me and said, "Get away from me, bitch. I don't know you shit," is what he said to me. And I thought, okay, I've got children, I've got sons. I'm like, okay, it ain't going to help for me to go crazy here right now. Let's try to get our money. I stayed very nice. He kept cussing me. He refused to pay me. He shouted out he didn't know anything, called security. And at the point the security lady asked me to leave, I did. And I did on the way out the door. I told everybody how it really is. Do not give him money. He will not pay you. He will not pay you back. You are going to have to sue him to get your money.
Well, in his show, and I just want to be clear on this, in his interview that he gave, he said, and he was adamant that he did not actually lay hands on you, but you contend that he actually did?
He actually did, and I have witnesses. Yes, sir, he did.
And then you had mentioned you had backed him for on and off for several years. Had you had problems in the past with him, in him paying you back with things?
He never really, that's why I quit backing him. He would, one of the things he does, he starts out asking you for $400, and then it turns into $10,000. And I can show this in the text messages, and it gets to be too much. He doesn't win. It turns into, well, let's try this one. And I do know in poker, you go on winning streaks, you go on losing streaks. I did think at this point was a good time to try to back him, because in the last 10 months, he's won close to $1 million. So he is on a hot streak. What I did not, you tell me what you want to talk about next. I don't want to get into several things that I have found out since I have backed him, but he never won, so I never had to go after the money, and I never gave him a whole lot of money. $400 or $500 is different from $11,200.
Yeah. With your dealings with Maurice, and in your opinion, do you think, is it a sociopathic behavior sort of situation where he doesn't even realize the things that he does and gets into sometimes? Do you think that it is more nefarious, that he's doing the things that he does with intention? What are your feelings having seen these different sides of Maurice throughout the years, and now going through what you are with him and the way you were treated, in Tunica?
I think that he doesn't realize that he's not telling you everything what he thinks how it should go. I think some of it is intentional to induce you. I mean, if he had been upfront with me and said, hey, you're never getting paid back, the way he just described it on his channel, I certainly wouldn't have given somebody $11,200. It was not a gamble. He was to play and it was to be made up and I was to be paid back. And it's like I told him, I didn't sign up for a bunch of nonsense. I signed up to back a winner. And I even joked with him. I said, but I was serious. Another player bought in multiple times. I said, don't be pulling and buying in a bunch of times. And so when he started texting me for more money, I knew he should have had plenty of money. He had plenty of money. I even told him up front. He asked for $8K. I said, this is not an $8K stop. He bought in. He only sent me 4 receipts for $1,600. He still had money left over from the other stop. So he had about $4,000, which would have been, several $400 buy-ins, a couple of satellites, and then some $600 buy-ins. So he bought in 4 times for the little mini main. Then he turned around and played a nightly satellite in which he won more money, which would have been one off of my money. And I should have gotten a percentage of that money. Plus he won a seat to the main. So I should have gotten a percentage of the main money.
So this is all, to interrupt, this is all from the WSOP Circuit horseshoe Tunica stop.
He busted. So he busted WPT. He busted MSPT. And I had several people come up to me at MSPT, and I'm sorry I lied to y'all because it made me very uncomfortable. People come up to me and say, oh, I hope you didn't give him money.
Let me ask you this. Do you have any hope or expectation that you will get paid back from Maurice at this point?
Oh, he really feels like me. He really feels like I disrespected him. And I don't think I've disrespected him. I think I stood up for myself. And if he feels that me standing up for myself and telling him I did tell him, knock off the BS. I didn't sign up for BS. I signed up for a winner. A winner does not behave the way he is behaving. Well, a winner honors their commitments. One of the first things he did tell me, when you promise somebody something, you keep that promise. If you can't keep your promises to people, then you are nothing. He told me that in one of the few lessons. I did not have that many lessons with Maurice. I don't want to see this happen to anybody else. I hope Maurice goes ahead and makes good, because legal fees will be added onto everything. But anybody wanting to back him, really, everybody needs to show them the video of how he treated Denise Pratt. He cussed me. I don't have the video of showing him, of him shoving me. I do have several videos of him screaming and hollering. He didn't know it. Now you have his podcast. Now you have this podcast. And you can decide who's telling the truth or who's not telling the truth. If I would just hope everybody would help, continue to tell other players. It isn't just you and Matt Berkey out there telling everybody he's a bad player. Several people have walked up to me previously, and through the years, numerous folks have walked up and told me, and you don't want to believe somebody's that bad. And here's the illusion. The illusion is you get shown he wins $6.3 million. And who doesn't want a few extra $1,000, right? And at the end of the day, what you need to remember, you're going to give him money for an illusion, and then you're not going to get paid. Some people have gotten paid, but more people have, and the people that he has backed all through history, he has done wrong in some kind of way. He has not been 100% with anybody that I know of. And they don't want their names named, just like I didn't want my name named previously. So when you're looking at backing somebody, this is a good plug, isn't it? Stake Kings and Poker. make them go through the site. The site will help you get your money. If they're asking you, it's like my father-in-law told you, when you give money, no matter what kind of agreement you can have a signed agreement. Hey, if they don't pay you, they're not going to pay you. Maurice is not going to pay you no matter what he has on paper. So just remember that. Remember, hey, can I do without this money? Am I really going to get this money? And what I can tell you, no, you're not going to get your money on time like you should. And then even after you get a garnishment, you're still going to have to work very hard to get your money. And I think Randy Garcia has been working for 7-8 years now. He had to go renew you can renew your garnishment. So he renewed it. And, it's just really sad that, to me, the first thing he told me, always keep your word, keep your promises. He did not do that.
All right, so there you have it, a little taste of the interview that I did with Denise Pratt. If you want to check out the full interview, head on over to the Poker News YouTube channel. I will also likely have an article up on PokerNews.com. I want to thank one of our sponsors for the Poker News podcast, and that is WPT Global. I mentioned it last week. I'm going to mention it again now. They have the 100K Guarantee Golden Bounty Championship. It is a weekly phase MTT that lets you battle for a massive $100,000 prize pool for just $25. There are day one flights Monday to Sunday. Make it through the field and you will qualify for the final day that also takes place on Sunday. 50% of every buy-in goes straight to the prize pool. And then there are, of course, the bounties. This is a great tournament for anybody looking for good value. $25 buy-in for a 100K prize pool. Check it out, WPT Global on PokerNews.com. You can learn more in our review. I'll link to it in the show notes. All right, let's talk about OnlyFriends. Pour one out for OnlyFriends if we could. The podcast that entertained us for several years, I think ended with episode 719. Not only ended with that episode, but had you on as a guest, Mike, which I thought was pretty cool. What was that whole experience like for you?
I was so sick, actually. It's funny because, like, in 2023, I was playing with Conrad, one of the Solve for Why guys, and I was like, yeah, man, I think I might win Player of the Year again online this year. Like, it'd be so sick to have you on. And he was like, we would never invite you on. And I think he even said something about making fun of me in a group chat. And I'm pretty sure he said that. Anyway, I was the final guest on the show, and I had a great time.
Snuck it in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Pause. I had a great time. Everyone was awesome. They're all good people. It was sick. I mean, we had a really good time. I was very unfiltered. I would suggest people check the episode out on YouTube. I come in there about halfway through, and I'm completely unfiltered and say some crazy nonsense. And no, we had a great time. And from the feedback I got from everyone seemed to really enjoy it. It was sick. I thought it was great. Nikki Limo was on there, Berkey, Brian LaManna, Jesse Sylvia, Conrad, and Jason Somerville on to interview a bunch of other people earlier. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Matt Berkey had a lot of nice things to say about the Poker News podcast, which meant a lot as we took a lot of inspiration from them over the course of the last several years. Very sad to see it end. And I actually alluded, Mike, I said, you're going there, you're on set. Is there a way we can make at least a little piece of the OnlyFriends podcast live on through the Poker News podcast? And I believe they gave you a little something that we can
they actually
keep the memory alive.
Yes, they actually have a box of OnlyFriends condoms branded.
Oh, nice. Thanks.
Joking. They gave us the Poker Out Loud, the artwork from behind their Poker Out Loud products. So we're just going to place that right there.
Excuse me,
it's totally a
Turtle.
normal size, and I don't know if I broke that, if it was broken beforehand. No one really knows. But here it is. And there it is. It's poker.
I love it.
It's out loud.
I love it. It's a little tradition. We can keep the OnlyFriends, little aspect of the OnlyFriends podcast alive. Certainly sad to see them go. Is bittersweet, as I said on Twitter, as did many others. The risk that Matt Berkey and his crew took to bring that product to the poker community. As I said, they left the poker world better than they found it. They did a lot of great things, and definitely sad to see them go. Kyna, I want to turn to you because, well, Mike was busy on the OnlyFriends podcast. You were busy down at South Point. It was the Lips Ladies Week, the Spring Festival, I believe. We talked about it last week. Team Hot Dog was there. What was that whole experience like for you?
Yeah, the Ladies Week is always really great. People come from all over the country to meet up with their friends. It's really an event about camaraderie, I've noticed, because they place a big emphasis on events and get-togethers and themes. They had a pizza party, they had a pajama party, and then they had tournaments and intermix. The team event was really fun. I hate to say it, but I'm pretty sure the hot dogs finished dead last, I think. When you get 0 points, somebody at the table was nice enough to be like, yeah, I think you tied for last. I'm like, yeah, it's hard not to do when you get 0 points. But we had a great time. It's a pretty turbo event. It was a fun turnout. The ladies are competitive. I love to see it. I love to, run deep. I was saying at the table, I like to run deep in ladies events. It means a little more. I don't know why. To see the ladies be competitive and show up and play the game. So I had a great time. I saw, also, fun fact, I saw a couple ladies with tilted compass backpacks on.
Sick.
So
Hell
it is
yeah.
making its way around the poker room, the poker world. It's a great backpack. It's a great product. One lady was at my table for the championship and she had one and she just starts going on about the backpack. It was
Aw.
great. Yeah, I like it.
No, I love the brand. It's sick.
It's a great brand. So check it out if you haven't yet, Tilted Compass. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
when I knew that you were going to be down there for that tag team event with Team Hot Dog, I sent our editor, producer, Adam down there. He does a lot of content. I'm like, go down there, interview Kyna, interview some other people, film some stuff, put together a little highlight package for us. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Lupe Soto. I'm the director of the Ladies International Poker Series, the Lips Tour, and we're here today at the Women in Poker Spring Festival.
So I'm here for Ladies Week at South Point for the Lips Tour. It's really fun. Today's the team event. We are Team Hot Dogs. You get a group of you and 4 friends, 5 lady teams.
We have 80 teams competing. That's 400 players, which is in history, there's never been 400 team event for women. So we're very, very excited about that and proud.
So, it's a team event and individual event split in 2. So it's really fun here. Lots of ladies came out to play. Great day. Everybody's having fun.
The women went all out in their costumes. The team names are fantastic. And we hope to be able to bring you this event next year bigger and better so we can even include more people to come in with us.
All right. Well, Mike was busy at OnlyFriends and Kyna, you were busy at South Point for the Lips event. I was busy in Green Bay, Wisconsin for day 1 of the NFL draft. I was in my backyard. I'm like, I got to don some of my Miami Dolphins gear, get up there. I went with a couple of friends that I grew up with. I went with my dad, had a great time. It was a fun experience. We only went for the first night, but it was definitely a lot of fun and proud to represent the Miami Dolphins there. And that's not really poker related, but I had to brag a little bit.
Strat related.
I think it's sick.
It's awesome. Yeah. How fun.
Well, thank you. And while we were all busy, Connor Richards, our colleague, was busy as well because I sent him down to PokerGO Studio last weekend for the One Step Closer Foundation All In for CP. This is a annual event that Jacob Zalewski runs. I've been there many times. It's a lot of fun. He gets some heavy hitters. So Ray Romano was there. Jennifer Tilley was there. And I actually arranged for Connor to sit down with Jennifer for an episode of his Life Outside Poker podcast. So Jennifer Tilley is going to be on that in the near future. I think we got talked about. It's the 20th anniversary of her WSOP bracelet winning.
Oh, yeah. That's so sick.
Yeah, so that's going to be one to look forward to. But I also said, hey, Connor, do some filming, do some interviewing, put together a little video package that we can share on the PokerNews podcast. Here it is.
We're here at the PokerGO studio at Aria Las Vegas for a special All In for CP event that's hosted by the One Step Closer Foundation. This is an exciting event with lots of celebrities here. Let's see who we can talk to. All right, Jennifer, this event's about to kick off.
I know, it's very exciting.
Talk about what's going on here.
Well, we've got all kinds of celebrities. We have Ray Romano, we have Montel Williams. We have all the super fans here, and I think everyone's very excited to get the cards in the air and see what we can do for charity and hopefully win this tournament.
You won it last year, is that right?
I did win it last year, and maybe I can have a double crown repeat.
All right, we're here with Mike the Mouth Matisow in the house for this charity event. Mike, talk about what's going on tonight.
We're trying to raise money for CP, I think it is. And I've been good friends with Jacob and his father, played poker with his father for 10 years back in the day, and became good friends with Jacob. He started this, and we're trying to raise money for a good cause.
Athena, if maybe some of our readers will remember, you were featured on American Idol because you are a very talented singer, but you've also recently got into poker. You were playing at South Point. Talk about your poker game.
Well, it's funny because poker has always been in my life, but I've never played before this year, really. I mean, it's been amazing to learn from my mom and my dad, and then everyone I talk to, I really just try to ask strategies, and I'm trying to just be a sponge and learn from as many people as possible. I don't consider myself like an amazing player yet, but when I do play, I want to be good, so I'm just trying to learn and do the best I can.
All right, Ray, action's about to kick off here in this charity event. Talk about what brought you out tonight and what you're here supporting.
Anyway, yeah, whenever I can help out, I try to help out. I just happen to have a weekend open. He asked me if I could come out, and I'm here. Listen, I do a lot of golf charities. If bad golf can help a charity out just as well as bad poker, I'm ready to help. Come on.
Yes! Let's
go!
Wow, online Oscar's acting like he was just announced next king of England. Hey, if he's happy, I'm happy. This is why the WSOP app is so great. The stakes are virtual, but the emotions are real. If you love playing poker, play WSOP, the #1 free-to-play poker game in the world.
All right, we are back. We got to talk real quick about Pennsylvania online poker news. It finally happened. They joined the multi-interstate, what is it? The
Interstate
MSIGA.
Compact.
There you go.
MSIGA, that's
Mike,
what everyone says, yes.
As an online guy, our online expert, is this big news? Are you happy to see this? Is it going to make things tougher for you? What's
No, it's great. Pennsylvania is a great state to have. It has a huge population. Could possibly or hopefully bring in the advent of BetMGM and PokerStars joining Nevada's player pool because we desperately need them. We can't have one single monopoly with WSOP. You see what happens with that. You get people who don't care. The WSOP product, hopefully, it needs to improve. There's so many more people as of yesterday, or rather Monday, the first day that it aired. There's so many more people playing tournaments. The schedule is exactly the same. It's really bad. The software is really bad. There's so many things they can improve and need to improve. Hopefully they do that, but it's great that we got Pennsylvania. Hopefully we get West Virginia here shortly, but we desperately need BetMGM and other competitors to force healthy competition.
One part of this was the WSOP merged the pool. So they're the first and only so far to have 4 states in one player pool because of Nevada, like Mike just said. And then they did release their online schedule for the 2025 WSOP. 30 different events will be on that schedule. And finally, under one player pool, there's no longer the segregated Pennsylvania market, which I think is a good development. So
the bracelet events, they already put them out?
Yeah, there's 30 of them.
Oh, wow. Well, last year, didn't it come out like one day before? Like, oh, so good for them. They're trying a little harder this year.
No, I commend them for not making the same mistake as last year, even though this is like the fucking bare minimum, dude. The barest minimum. But like, that's great. I'm all for progress. I'm glad we got Pennsylvania. I've heard that they may be revamping the schedule, and they've made 10, I believe 5 or 10 of the tournaments now are live final tables.
That's cool too, yeah.
I think that's pretty nice to combat the rampant multi-counting that will inevitably happen during this period. It's nice, it helps keep the game a little cleaner, but at the same time, it makes it a little less pure. I guess that's a debate, but yeah, it's cool.
All right. And amidst all of this and the announcement, there was something I really got to shout out because I don't get impressed by much in the poker world these days, but I was impressed by this, and I think it's huge for the poker community. And that was an interview that Maurice Escandani at PokerGO, a Poker Hall of Famer, one of the biggest names, nicest guys, and most powerful people in the poker industry, did an interview with Governor Shapiro, Pennsylvania governor, about online poker, about them joining the multi-state agreement. I was blown away. I didn't know this thing was coming. It is like 8 minutes long. We're not going to be able to show it here. That's their props, but you need to go check it out. As Maury said, who's been in this industry for decades, Governor Shapiro's likely the largest political person to ever publicly come out and support poker in such a manner. Did you guys see the video that I'm referring to?
Yeah. No,
it's pretty cool, man.
He's sick. That guy's awesome. I hate the Philadelphia Eagles with a fiery passion, but I love that guy. He's pretty sick. No, I mean, he 100% supports it. He was talking about doing a 50 senator PokerGO tournament to see who the best senator of poker is. Probably shouldn't. Well, yeah, that seems good, actually. Let's do that. I want to see that. That seems great. But either way, fantastic stuff to have someone so high up supporting something that makes logical sense. It's sports betting's legal. DraftKings exists. FanDuel exists. You get to do fantasy sports. Let us play some fucking cards, man.
All right, I want to recognize some recent tournament winners as presented by WPT Global. There was the Texas Poker Open down at Champions Club in Texas. This was a $3,300 buy-in. Main event, 699 runners, was won by Ravi Sundara, a.k.a. Sonny, for $283,000 after a three-way deal. At Andrew Moreno, Viet Vo, Justin Liberto, all at that final table. There was also the Run Good Poker Series in Council Bluffs, which is in Omaha, an $800 main event, 461 runners, was won by Thomas Wickoff for almost $65,000. And then there was the PokerStars Open Philadelphia main event. This is when Poker News was there doing live updates, $1,100 main event. And it was at Live Casino and Hotel in Philadelphia. There was a three-way deal there. Frank Finaro. Mike, I know you know Frankie Funk.
Oh, yeah. Frankie Funk and me go way back.
Is that your boy?
That legitimately is my dog.
That's your boy for today.
No, he's like my boy normally.
No,
I fuck with Frankie Funk heavy.
I'm glad we have one on today's episode.
No, I mean, we have several, I think. But no, Frankie Funk, that's my fucking guy. Him and Nicky No-Folds is his brother. They're just some sexual Italians. They've got to be Italian, right? Yeah, they're Italian. Yeah, they're just keeping it authentic in New Jersey. I hear they make great pizza. Yeah. The Funaros. We love them.
Frank Finaro finished in third as part of the three-way deal for $125K. It was Edward Leonard taking it down for $147,000. 1,154 runners at that PokerStars Open Philadelphia. So hope to see more of those. That's going to do it for the winners that we're recapping this week. The PokerStars EPT is about to get underway. I know they recently announced the scoop schedule for the worldwide pool. You can check all those out on PokerNews.com. Let's talk real quick one more topic, and that is this poker content creation crisis that is happening. Brad Owen has spoken about it in last week's episode. If you watched 888 Poker's Nick Eastwood, he and I had a great conversation about it, and it's basically about the algorithm on YouTube really hampering the efforts. Now, my good friend Robbie Strazynski over at CardPlayer Lifestyle, he released an op-ed. He wrote an op-ed called "When Algorithms Attack," and then he took the rare step of releasing a video. And Robbie doesn't do that a lot. It was he'll say it was a risk for him, but I was really impressed, as were others. And I even said, Robbie, do you mind if I show that on the Poker News podcast, because I think it's very important. It's only a couple of minutes long. Check it out.
They say you're supposed to show the scars, not the wounds. Well, there's a number of us, all of us, in the poker content creation space, and we have been scarred. There's been a lot of talk among poker vloggers that YouTube's algorithm has messed things up. It's limited and restricted organic reach. Those of us in the written media space, we've known this for over 18 months because Google's helpful content update wasn't really so helpful. What's happened is these algorithms have kind of just, begun to completely ignore what we create. The thing is, what we create, we're human beings. We're passionate about what we do, and we're passionate about poker. We create this stuff for you guys, for people, not for algorithms and viral moments. Right? Sure, we try to do the best practices and what's recommended. We're professionals. We've been doing this, for a living, and we've been able to do this for a living because we're good at it, right? But I don't think anyone wants to see Nick Eastwood lose his sponsorship because, the numbers just aren't there like they used to be. No one wants to see Brad Owen lose his sponsorship because his videos aren't getting the reach they used to. I sure as hell don't want to have to stop doing what I'm doing because it's unsustainable to run a poker media website anymore. Thing is, we haven't been killed yet because there are people out there. It's all of you guys. Anyone who's watching this, you're a person. You're not an algorithm. But the thing is, without the algorithms paying attention to what we do and giving us that reach that, frankly, we do deserve, because we work hard at it. We don't just half-ass our way towards hitting publish. When the algorithms ignore us and the clicks aren't there, then the sponsorship dollars disappear, the money isn't there, and then it's just unsustainable. We don't want that to happen. I'm better with written words than I am on video. So I wrote an article on CardPlayer Lifestyle. Click the link above, below, depending on what platform you're watching this. But I felt compelled to make a video because what I wrote is important. And I need not the algorithm to take notice, though that would be nice, but I need people to know. And I believe that there's a lot of fellow poker content creators in the same boat. So if you see this, if you read my article and you agree with what I'm saying, please spread the word. And hopefully together, we will make enough noise that whoever programs those algorithms will pay attention and finally change things.
All right, so there you have it. I highly recommend reading Robbie's Strazynski's piece on it on cardplayerlifestyle.com. But Mike, Kyna, this is applicable to us. This show is on YouTube. We're poker content creators one way or the other. This is something I'm paying close attention to. Is it something that you two are aware of or have seen Brad Owen or others speak about it?
I saw Brad post something on Twitter, and actually it got me looking at my YouTube algorithm. I watch a lot of gambling content. I watch a lot of slot channels. I watch a lot of poker vlogs, and I've noticed them showing up less and less on my front page. I'll watch one video about some chick camping in the rain, and then I get 35 videos of that instead of the channels that I'm following. And so I see a lot of shorts and stuff, but yeah, I haven't really gotten as much poker content lately.
No, I feel the same way. You watch one video of a girl eating a candy apple ASMR, and then all of a sudden you get 40 of them. It's crazy. And then you watch all those. It's fucking wild.
Yeah. It's strange, but hopefully they can fix it. And hopefully people are still seeing us out there.
Yeah, okay, so check it, right? Yeah, that's terrible. You can't have this is what YouTube's doing. YouTube has taken a algorithmic approach with AI where they are filtering every video through some sort of AI algorithm that looks for certain keywords, phrases, etc. in the title and the video. And it's a situation where it should be very obvious to anyone with a brain that if you're allowing financial guys to do their thing with Wall Street bets and shit, where that's the biggest stuff on YouTube right now, where everyone's just doing puts and options and gambling their dicks off, we can't have poker content. What's going on? That doesn't make any sense. So I think it's a situation where content creators like Brad Owen, those with a bigger voice, Alexandra Botez, who's gotten to poker recently, any of the bigger poker channels need to use their platform to try to get YouTube to change their mind or do something, because this is a situation where you don't really realize how much YouTube affects the poker community in general. If poker died, you weren't allowed to have any poker on YouTube, fields are going to drastically lower. So hopefully YouTube reverses their decision soon and we can get these guys paid out.
And you want a new generation of content creators eventually to come in. You want to see who's good. You want to be shown the content that's new and, doesn't have 1 billion followers yet to discover it, kind of, give us the opportunity.
Yeah. If the algorithm comes for Vegas Matt, Kyna will revolt.
Oh, no, it always shows me Vegas Matt.
All right. Well, I want to also recommend you save the date for Robbie Strazynski's next Mixed Game Festival. It is the Mixed Game Festival 11 taking place this summer, June 8th through the 19th at the Bellagio in Las Vegas during the WSOP. All cash games. I am definitely going to be there grinding when I can. Definitely save the date and hope to see you there. That's going to do it for this episode, you two. What's coming up for, I'm going to be there with you in about 3 weeks.
Yay!
The World Series of Poker is knocking at the door. It's getting serious. Mike, I know you talked about it with Matt Berkey and the OnlyFriends crew a little bit. They asked you, are you ready? But I'm asking you both right now, are you guys ready? The 2025 WSOP is right around the corner.
Yeah, I'm super prepared now. I feel really good.
Yeah, me too. I've worked out some stuff. But let me just throw a shout out. I will be in San Diego this weekend for the MSPT series at Sycuan. So if you're down that way, say hi. Like always, love to see people that love the podcast.
There you go. Well, I'll end this by saying, Maurice, we're waiting. We're ready. You have the open invitation to come on the Poker News Podcast and have a discussion with us. In the meantime, anybody who likes, subscribes, all that jazz, give us the review, 5 stars, spread the word. You know, there's a big void in the poker community right now with OnlyFriends ending, with the chip race is apparently ending as well. So we're going to do our part, but we need your help. So like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. We will be back next Thursday with a brand new episode of the Poker News Podcast. It'll be episode number 890. And until then, we'll keep a seat open for you.